Hello everyone, my name is Geetha Gopal, and today I will share with you on how as next gen we can transform our opportunities into new realities. So I'm sure we all agree that this year has been an exceptional year. Just because humans associate intelligence with humor and humor with intelligence, a little bit of humor to start our session. So I'm sure as when a time traveler visits our planet this year, he's gonna be shocked. He wouldn't want to end up in 2020. I think if we were those time travelers and we end up back in 2020, our reaction would be much more worse than this. Yeah. So, but 2020 has taught us many lessons. I'm sure we all agree also that it's taught us resilience, how resilient we are, and what as humans, when we come together, we can achieve. So, on that note, I want to share with you on a study that happened in December 2019. So, we've all heard in risk management about known unknowns. There are certain things that we know will happen, but we don't know what they are. We have a list of things that we can predict which could happen. Those are what we term as known unknowns. And in December 2019, PwC did a survey with the global CEOs and found that 73% of them expected at least one major crisis within 3 years. So, what did they expect? They expected threats in the form of policy uncertainty, climate change, cyber attacks, geopolitical instability, cold wars, overregulations. And one thing they were all certain was that the frequency and number of threats will push organizations to prepare for all sorts of troubling scenarios. But so what they predicted was that the number of frequencies and threats will push organizations to prepare for all sorts of troubling scenarios. So there's a very famous statistician. I think that's precisely what happened with the COVID-19 pandemic. In early March this year, when WHO announced a global pandemic, I think we were all not prepared. But 10 months down the lane, I think we have run a global BCP, and I think the world is functioning despite a lot of setbacks and problems. It's been functioning pretty well. This is another example of human resilience, I would say. And I think we all have taken our own learnings and adaptations, and we've survived this COVID-19 pandemic pretty well, I would say. So, my strong recommendation is to read this book by Taleb, The Black Swan: The Impact of the Highly Improbable. I personally feel that this would, open our eyes onto these unknown unknowns and how we can prepare ourselves better for such events. So all is not bad. With crisis comes opportunities. And a recent study has indicated that COVID 19 has sped up digital transformation by 5.3 years. This study says that this is the accelerator of the decade. And all the previous inhibitors for innovation have been broken down. All the naysayers have been quietened now. And we've seen that digital communication has been the new lifeblood for businesses. And those businesses that adapted to newer and innovative forms of communication have been thriving pretty well during this crisis. We've also seen that omni-channel communication is taking importance. We've seen how digital technologies have opened up remote work for us. That may not have been possible a couple of years ago, but I think the world itself was better prepared when this happened, and we have to thank technology for that. So, in a post COVID 19 world, like we say, when we say there are opportunities, most of the opportunities are expected in the form of technology. So these, what you see here, are not new. I'm sure most technologists will agree that most of these have been in existence for a long time. For example, AI, cloud computing, cybersecurity, importance, and so on. But what studies say is that the future depends on these, and there's going to be a lot of investments in these areas by organizations, by governments, and you know. So I think that this is it is important for us as project and program managers to be more aligned with technologies and to pick up as much as tech skills as possible to be able to survive and also thrive in a post COVID-19 world. So what's in it for us? Crisis or opportunity? If you ask me, I would like to see crisis as equal to opportunities. Why? Because it gives us a chance to change, to what the obsolete things, we can throw them out of the window and adapt to new ways of life. And we can also see that the distinction between project and technology leadership is diminishing. Now we can see CEOs running technology programs. And what does that also mean for us? It means new realities. We can create new realities with the new skills that we acquire. There's a lot of expectations on us as the next generation in terms of delivering, in terms of technology, in terms of innovation, driving change. We are at the helm of a lot of important and interesting things. But there's more to it than meets the eye. Is it enough if we just meet our project management goals? If we meet our projects, we meet the timelines of our projects, we stick to the budget, we deliver the expected quality, and we keep our people happy. If you ask me, that's only one part of the whole puzzle. And what is it that that is expected out of the next gen, and which in turn is our opportunities? I'd say that it is a customer and strategy orientation. So, when I started my career, I was assigned a lot of projects and programs, and I was very happy to pick up whichever I got because I was new and I wanted to pick up, improve my project skills, improve my own personal portfolio. But down the lane, I realized that in order to make a difference to the organization that you work for, and to get a greater sense of fulfillment, you need to align your personal goals with your organizational goals. And I've had a lot of experience dealing with AI products, and that has taught me that it is important to have a customer orientation, aligning with the strategy of our organization, aligning to the expectations of the customers is a thought process that I believe that program and project managers need to embrace for the new world. So it's no longer going to be cost, time, and scope. It's going to be what difference are you going to make to your organization, and what are the lives that you're going to change through your programs. And I think that will also align us better, may help us to see the difference that we are making through our work. And third, an important part of the puzzle, if you ask me, is being data driven, collaborative, and having technology orientation. So we can confidently say that large investments going forward will all be driven by technology, and they'll be supported by data. So the AI hype and all the latest digital transformation initiatives are all tightly tied to both data and technology. And I think as a project and program managers, we have to look beyond and embrace technology, see what data we can generate from our programs that will align with with making the lives of our operations better, that would give a better sense of visibility on our programs to our senior management, and that would give a better sense of comfort and confidence to our key stakeholders and customers. And I think that's very important for us to have a very data driven and technology oriented mindset. If we need to code, we have to code, and that's what I'm trying to say. And we are definitely going to benefit from the new skills that we pick up So I think that was useful. And what's next gen's biggest challenge, if you ask me? It is how do we adapt to the different generations that we come across with in the workplace. A recent study says that generational differences are small, despite what we think. It, it's actually our own thinking that the ideas and the thought process may change. But if you see deep within, a lot of the differences between generations are generated from bias, from human bias. So there's a lot of effort that has been put into this study. We can argue a lot, but what this study says is that generation differences are small and our thinking makes it appear greater than it actually is. And I am quite aligned with this thought process as well. So we have at the moment five different generations in the workplace. We have the baby boomers, we have generation X, generation Y, millennials, and so on. But we all have to work together, whether be it in our programs or whether be it in our functional roles. So I think it's important that we have, we see the influence of the different types of stakeholders that we need to work with, whichever generation they are from. I think there's a lot we can do by working together. So this particular chart, I find it very interesting and useful to understand I understand this gap a little bit better. As project managers, you are at the core of the activity, and you are looked upon as the person that sets the path, and ensures that the communication flow is smooth for the program and so on. But in terms of interpersonal skills, I think it is also important for us to see on how we communicate upwards towards our senior management, our stakeholders, our functional hierarchy, and downwards towards our own team, the team that we manage, our virtual teams, our direct reportees, our project reportees, and so on, and sidewards on how we interact and communicate with our peers, with people who in the same level who are sometimes our competitors, and what's our relationship with them, and outwards in terms of vendors and customers and external stakeholders and so on. So if you ask me, I'd say that there is a lot of potential for a program manager to build great relationships with all these stakeholders in the course of their projects. I'm sure most of you have already experienced that. There may be a lot of difficulties, there may be difficult stakeholders to manage, and so on. But what I strongly recommend and believe is that it is possible to bridge this gap if we see them having to fear our senior management and worry about the worry about their expectations. You could start instead seeing them as mentors, as people whom you can approach for getting advice instead of just having to report to them, right? That's, I think, also an Asian mindset. In the Western industries, we tend to see this behavior slightly more balanced. In the Asian corporate world, I do believe that it is this people whom we have to report to, so everything should be perfect, we cannot go to them with problems. I think that mentality should change. From my own experience, all my seniors and all my supervisors, I see them as mentors, and a project coordinator role. And 3 years down the lane, 2 years down the lane, I became the program manager of this large regional program. And next year, when the program was over, they converted me into an internal role. They created a position for me and absorbed me. And this is just to show that that was because I was able to show my value and bring my problems to my supervisors, and not just hide them under the carpets. And I was able to discuss with my supervisors, tell them that whenever I need help, I was never shy to ask them. I think that gave also them the confidence that a person can start at any role, but if they are willing to learn, if they are willing to see their own problems and find solutions for them, and with results, our growth will come. And in terms of outwards, our managing our partners and vendors, we have to treat them more as our as our supporters, instead of having to treat them as people who have to just deliver for us. I think it will be better if we all start seeing our partners with a little more. Similarly, with the managing your team, now I think we have to work more. We've all been doing that, and in the last 10 months, we've had all of us have mostly been functioning as virtual teams. So we can see the importance of formal communication, informal communication, and having to understand each other's personal situations and circumstances. Empathy, I think, is very important for us to make a difference to in the lives of the people that work with us, work for us. And on in terms of sideways, your peers, managing your peers and your people, so-called competitors, who might be competing for the same positions and projects that you are looking forward to. It's also possible to support them and be on a good relationship with them. So my my take here is that it people are not difficult. It's just the circumstances that make things difficult at times, and we have to look beyond so that we can move forward and see the value together for our organization. So I have three things here, which I always strongly recommend, which is collaboration, working despite the position, despite your role, to go beyond and collaborate wherever you have to, and to communicate appropriately, right? Use the right amount of communication, use the right tools that are needed for communication to create transparency, and be consistent in whatever we do. So these are the three things that have helped me to be consistent in my growth. And how do we sustain new realities? We can have growth, but how do we sustain them? Like I said, it's very important to be cross functional, to be agile and be very aligned with the organization's mission and vision and values. Why are we doing this? What's the bigger motive? How am I going to make a difference in my organization? I think that's very important. When we undertake a program, it doesn't matter what is the dollar value of the program. If it is going to make a difference to your customers, if it is going to make the lives of your senior management better, if it's going to make a difference in the economic situation of your organization, I think that's how what program managers should start seeing. And leading amid uncertainty, it's not just leading your team or your program, it's leading yourself. There are a lot of times when we get stuck, when a lot of things pull us down, and it's very important to continuously trying to untangle the problems around us, slowly, one thing at a time, and to straighten the path. And if we are not aligned ourselves, I don't think that we can run a project or a program well. And there's always we have a feeling, if we've done something for 3 years, we know that we know everything about it, but I believe that that's not true. So there's always a knowing doing gap between what we know and what we do. There definitely are things that we can improve. And I also feel that by being rigid, we may not be able to go far. And we have preferences, but when opportunities come to us, we should be willing to take up the unknown and the untried. I was running large data center projects, and for Daimler, and I was doing very well in that. And all the data center relocations for Daimler, I'm the key person involved. And but that doesn't mean that I for the next 10 years I want to keep doing data center projects. Yes, it's big dollar values, and it's very important, very critical projects for our organization. But when there was an opportunity that was given to me to take up an incubator program with two developers and to start exploring open source solutions, because our organization wanted to go towards in-house open source AI solutions, instead of having to rely on vendors, I seized that opportunity. I do not code, and at that point of time, I had no idea of what that means. But when the opportunity came and my management gave me the assurance that I can use up 50% of my efforts and for this, and I can explore, and it's fine to fail. They gave me the assurance that this is a research and it's okay to fail. and they gave me two very good resources, and together we started building a product. We converted it into an MVP, and within the next 1 year we made it into a full-fledged AI virtual assistant product, running in-house with at bare minimum cost, with very lean infrastructure, and automating our operational activities and reducing the work that usually takes 5 days for our operations time to less than 5 minutes in many cases. Then it became an over a period of time, it became a sensational product. And 1 year down the lane, I from a so a program and a project management professional, I became a product owner. And so I had the next challenge of converting that into a business, into a service from which my department could reuse this. My department could recover the investments as services, and offer the a product to the other companies of our organization around the world. And so for the next 3-4 months I spent on thinking about how I can make money out of this product, how can I monetize it. And in 6 months we were able to break even on the investments that we made on this research program. And this project went on to win the CX Customer Service Awards 2019 under the digital innovation category. So we didn't plan for it, but all that happened was, when I got that opportunity, I was not afraid to seize it, and I think that put me on a path that I would not have planned for if I had feared. That I do not code. What if I fail? So that's why I strongly believe that it's important for us to have a curious mind. I believe that we when we are not comfortable, we say I don't know, but I think a better way of saying is I will find out, and by them you also learn. And it's also important to have a feedback culture. So whenever there's a negative feedback, as humans we tend to be defensive, and I think there our learning will stop if we are defensive to feedback, to negative feedback especially. And if we want to grow, then we should be able to willing to listen to the feedback that is given to us, and to self-assess, get help if needed. And the third most important point I would like to re-emphasize, is mentorship. Like I said, that I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of people who have so willingly been my mentor, and who have given me the right opportunities. And when I failed to meet their expectations, sat with me, explained to me, so that I was able to pick up from there and deliver what I'm supposed to. And it only takes one feedback for us to to assess ourselves. And but that's I think also an individual thing. um, so I strongly believe that we should have a culture of looking around us for our mentors. We don't have, and sometimes our mentors come from peers, sometimes our mentors come from people not in our department. It could be it could be a totally different area from yours, but you would be really surprised to see to if you are able to have a mentor and to look up to them, share your thoughts, act like a act like a sounding board with them, you'll be really surprised to see at your personal growth. So I strongly recommend mentorship to be able to on our path to a successful career. So that brings me to the end of my session. I hope that was useful. And I always believe that we have to be the change that we wish to see in the world. I follow Gandhi. I'm still an Indian. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. And feel free to connect with me through LinkedIn, or drop me a note via email. I'm happy to be in touch with you guys.